Our area's most beautiful properties deserve the finest realtors. Meeks Realty Group. We focus on buying and selling residential and commercial properties throughout the tri-state area. Contact Meeks Realty Group online at meeks.us or call 304-440-1101.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 580 WCHS, its employees, or WVRC Media. From the studios of WVRC Media, the country, the United States of America, the state, West Virginia, the city, Charleston. This is the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live. And your host.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
He's kind of a big deal.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dave Allen.
We play my favorite.
And a good Wednesday morning to you. Welcome to the show. Ryan Nicholson is our producer today. Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly Hotline 304-345-5858. Fruit Pharmacy text 304-935-5008. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, that is. That's the name of the show. Comes to you from the Parmar Store studio. A reminder, the Parmar Scary Creek location just off the St. Albans exit of I-64 has reopened. And remember this date, 1 week from tomorrow, the 28th. That's when Parmar will be teaming up with our sister station, Superstar Country 96.1 KWS, to give away free Tim McGraw tickets at the Scary Creek location of Parmar. Rob Reel will be there from noon until 2 with your chance to win free tickets and more with our sister station, Superstar Country 96.1 KWS and Parmar stores. And if there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you by Thornhill Auto Group, including Thornhill Toyota, the Toyota National Sales Event going on now. Come check out the 2024 Camry, the Corolla, the all-new Crown, or the new 2024 RAV4 or Highlander Gas, where qualified buyers can get 3.99% APR financing for up to 60 months. See them for all the details. Visit on the Thornhill Motor Mile, US 119 in Chapmanville, or online at ThornhillToyotaWV.com. Toyota, let's go places. Happy spring! Although it may not feel like it, early this morning, spring officially kicked in just after 11 o'clock or so last night. So happy spring coming up this morning. It's the annual Day of Giving for West Virginia University. We'll spend some time talking about that with B.J. Davisson, who is the Executive Vice President and Chief Development Officer for WVU's foundation. Fred Albert from the American Federation of Teachers will be stopping by. As you may imagine, his group not pleased with certain aspects of this past legislative session, including the vaccination bill. I'll talk to Fred about that. Plus, I'm going to give you some information about an event going on in Charleston tonight, something I'm proud to be a part of. All that and more is coming up. Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly Hotline 304-345-5858. Fruit Pharmacy text 304-935-5008. It's always a pleasure to welcome into the show. You know her, you love her, the lovely and talented Millie Snyder from the Shape Shop. How are you, dear?
Oh, I don't want to stop you. Please continue.
How's it going?
Very well, thank you.
You're for lack of a better term, you're dripping. You're snotting around this morning. You're getting stuff all over my board.
I think it's this spring. I don't believe it.
Is that what it is?
I don't believe it. I don't know. It's a change of seasons, but did it have to come on with a vengeance?
Yeah.
Gosh,
yeah.
I wasn't prepared to get out my long underwear.
A lot of people. A lot of people are suffering right now with seasonal things, and it's only going to get worse.
Count me among them.
And you know the cicadas are
coming
back. Yeah.
This is 17 years?
This is the cicada year. I heard them talking about that on the...
Lord have mercy. I grew up with them in Baltimore when I was growing up. Yeah. They were everywhere.
But there's something going on, and I just heard like bits and pieces of it, and maybe I'll put
Do we know?
I'll put the research. Well, I don't think.
Please, I would like the research.
But there's also,
I'm going to stay in the house.
Well, there's also something else going on in addition to the cicadas. There's another sort of an invasion of some sort that's happened. I just heard a bit, but this is how rumors get started. So I just heard bits and pieces about it the other day, and it's the first time like in 200 years we've had these two things happen at the same time: cicadas and I don't know, locust or something like that.
I'm not responsible if it was 200 years ago.
No, you were not responsible. How have you been other than suffering from seasonal allergies and stuff?
Well, I have a touch of vertigo, which is most interesting.
Told us about that last time.
Yes, and it's still with me, but it's getting better, and I'm going to see a wonderful physical therapist at Generations and getting some help there.
Okay.
So there's not a lot to do for it.
I was going to say, what is the treatment? What do they do for
the
vertigo?
treatment is just to know which way to move and which way not to move. And it's only happening now when I sit up and when I lie down. So it's better.
I mean, what's the alternatives? If you sit up and you lie down, I mean...
There are no alternatives.
I was going to say, that's only the two things we have,
know
right?
They know what to call it. and it just happens, and a lot of people suffer from it. Some to greater extents than myself.
Right.
But it's actually eased up a little bit because
that's good.
I was walking around like foggy all day, and somebody said, "So what's new?"
Yeah.
But it has cleared up, and I'm grateful for that.
Lay off the bourbon, girl.
Oh, yes, because rot gut. So my doctor gave me something to take for dizziness, and it made me feel like I was drinking rot gut wine. Not that I know what that tastes like.
How do we know what part of the Mediterranean diet is Mad Dog part of, or Boone's Farm?
I think it's on the unpublished page.
Yes. Like the dark web.
Oh, yeah, there is a dark web, I'm
for
sure.
Mediterranean diet.
Yes.
So spring is officially here. It came in a little after 11 o'clock tonight. Millie, what is your favorite season?
All of them.
Okay.
No, truly. I really am a four-season girl. Now, when the snow gets up to my nostrils, that's a little bit too much. But I really am a four-season person.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love every season. And that might sound a little strange.
Well, no, a lot of people.
But I grew up in it. I live in it, and I love it.
And this time of year, you could get all four seasons in one day.
Yes.
I mean, that's one of the great things about spring in West Virginia.
I mean, when we woke up Tuesday morning, truly, I'm talking about long underwear. Not that I have any, but if I had some, I would have worn it on Tuesday morning.
Write this down, Ryan. We've got rot gut wine and long underwear on the show today. This may be a first.
A good comedian could do something wonderful with that.
Yeah.
And you're talking to her.
Yeah. Do you? And you don't sell either one of those at the Shape Shop, rot gut?
No,
okay.
not yet.
What do you sell at the Shape Shop? What's new at the Shape Shop?
Oh, everything. We are making some of the most wonderful fresh meals. And I have to tell you, Dave, there's new research that's coming out every day in the fact that when we eat clean and we eat fresh, we are giving ourselves a gift. And it's not just about what we eat at the moment, but what it does in our bodies moving forward. There's going to be some research coming forward that in our lifetime, by cleaning up what we eat, we're going to be able to avoid some of the heinous diseases such as Alzheimer's, or make it so much more palatable for the body to deal with, because we are what we eat. And that's not a Millie Snyderism.
No.
That happens to be a fact, and I can't emphasize it enough. What we do at Shape Shop is small in comparison to what we want people to do in their life. You know, I now have 2 Mediterranean groups. I teach a group on on Thursday morning at 9:15 and on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. And we chose Saturday because a lot of people, for this reason and the other, can't get in on a Thursday. So there's an option for Saturday. But in addition to, and it's not just weight loss, but it's learning how to take care of yourself and all the people that you hold dear in your life. Because if we understand that the beauty of a meal is not just to hurry up and put it together so everybody's happy, let's make it devoid of chemicals and preservatives, because that's stuff that our body doesn't know how to handle, and it creates havoc inside. And the research, especially around dementia and Alzheimer's, is going to shock us as we continue to learn more and more about it. We need the gift of bringing it into our lives and eating as healthy as we can. Not depriving ourselves at any level. My God, with Mediterranean, you eat better than you've ever eaten. But people are afraid of the word diet. And of course, right now, we're living in a revolution of people losing weight with medication. And I am very worried about it. There was a great big show on Tuesday night. It was on television. Oprah Winfrey was the hostess. And I think a lot of people are going to keep doing it, but we don't know the downsides. We don't know what's going to happen later on.
Where was Oprah on the whole thing? Is she
she's a user of the injectable.
Because Oprah's one of those people, Millie, as you well know, going back to the 1980s, at the height of her popularity. You know, she was a larger person, and then she became like nothing.
Yes, I remember when
and then she was kind of up and then down, and then she eventually came out and just said, "Look, be happy with who you are."
Exactly.
And whatever that is for you. But I'm like you, I don't always do the healthiest things in the world. I'll be the first to admit it. But I don't. This whole thing with medication, I'm a believer in the fewer medications that you take,
and I second that motion.
The better. And I see people that are of all age groups, not just older folks. I mean, of all age groups, people, younger than I am, that are starting their day with a diet of 10 to 15 different types of pills, and there's no way that can be good for you. Because
and what are you going to learn?
It's
where is your education happening? If you're just injecting something or taking a supply of pills, you're not doing anything to make the changes.
Yeah.
And as a former franchise owner of Weight Watchers, I can tell you I believe I've seen them all. And
Sure.
they don't have a pretty story to tell as we get to the end of that line. I hope it's going to be different this time. I believe in helping people the most positive way, but I don't see any positivity coming out.
Well, people
of that.
want a quick fix, and that's just
Everybody
that's
does.
just who we are
Sure,
in life
'cause
in
I got
general.
fat since last Tuesday.
Yeah, and everybody wants a quick fix, and they say,
Yes.
"Well, what are you doing?" And again, this is it's not that new because
Oh my gosh.
20, 25, as you said, you've seen it all. 25, 30 years ago, it was we're going to do this diet, and we're going to do we're going to eat grapefruit, for 7 days out of the week, 3 meals a day, and see how that works
Yeah,
out
my
for you.
sister
Whatever.
did that when she was 19 and caused an ulcerated stomach.
Yeah.
Because if 6 grapefruits were good, she had 10. Everybody wants to do it a little bit better than what the rules are.
So what's an average? Okay, I want to talk about Mediterranean diet. Give me an average, and I know everybody's different. Everybody has likes and dislikes. Give me an average day. If I were doing the Mediterranean plan, give me lunch, breakfast, and dinner. What would I have on my plate?
Well, I would start off with, for breakfast, a poached egg on whole grain toast, couple pieces of fruit, maybe some yogurt to go with that. Of course, everybody has to have their blessed cup of coffee if they're a coffee drinker.
Oh, yeah.
And that can be 1 egg or 2, and you can poach them. You can do them, any way you want.
Okay.
That's just a good, substantial breakfast. For lunch, you could have a piece of baked salmon, a beautiful salad, sprinkled with some feta cheese, maybe lettuce, tomato, the things that you like to eat with that. If you want to have a whole grain with that, you can. And there's some great whole grain breads out there, 1 slice. And for dinner, you might want to, you don't want to overdo the fish, but how about chicken and a baked potato with 1 or 2 vegetables, maybe not the vegetables, and a salad. And then for dessert, let's have a baked apple with sugar-free whipped topping, or chocolate pudding with sugar-free whipped topping. And that's just a typical day.
Typical day. Okay. And you teach all of this stuff. That's the thing about it. If you
Not
want to
only
learn about it, and
teach
you
it,
got
but I sit in the meeting room and I watch people just loving what's happening to them. I have one lady who comes and she says, I've never felt better. Why? Because she's not including some of the chemicals that's in the processed food in her body. She feels better. She has more energy. And what's better than that? Being able to get up and do, because you are what you eat. And if you're eating better, you feel better. Now, it doesn't happen dramatically. It doesn't happen like from 2 o'clock in the afternoon till 4, but let's do it for a couple of days. Let's get a good couple of weeks under our belt, and let's talk about how good you feel. Your blood pressure improves. Your overall stamina increases. And those are things we can't put a dollar value to. Oh, well, that's what it cost me. Where is the health store? Because I want to go to it. There is no place where you can go and buy your health. We need to provide it for ourselves.
All right, before we let you go.
Don't let me go yet. I got to tell you a couple things.
All right, well, go ahead.
April 1st.
April 1st.
Fool's Day. It's coming soon. I believe it's a Monday.
Okay.
You need to check your calendar.
Okay.
On April Fool's Day, April 1st, Shape Shop will celebrate.
It is a Monday. It is a
Oh,
Monday.
thank goodness.
Okay.
We will celebrate our 48th year of having Shape Shop. Most of them were at Patrick Street,
Yeah.
and now we're at 706 Central Avenue. And on that day, from the minute we open until we close, everybody who comes in is going to have a free ice cream cone.
All right.
And that could be sugar-free, or it could
And
be
that's all
one
day?
with all day.
On Monday, April 1st.
You can come in early and then come back later.
Okay. Come back with a disguise on, like a hat or something.
Yeah, or
Okay.
whatever.
All right.
Sunglasses.
So that's one thing. What's the second thing?
The second thing is why I wanted to make a point to tell you that I have a second Saturday morning Mediterranean group, but we are making fresh, clean, fabulous food. And we want people to avail themselves. Muffins without real sugar, pastries without real sugar, and sugar's not our friend. Now, some people don't like when I say that because they have one nerve left and I'm standing on it.
Got it.
But the truth of the matter is, sugar tastes good in your mouth. But don't take my word for it. Ask somebody who is a bona fide and knowledgeable person around nutrition. The Mediterranean concept is not new. It's been around a long time. It came to our shores in 1993, and we're benefiting now if we put it into work.
But people have been eating it well before that, people of that lineage. That's just when it became popular, but there's people of that, if that's their ancestral background, they've been eating that stuff for years.
I made a statement to someone and said, I think Jesus ate the Mediterranean way. I mean, what supermarket did he go to? He had to eat fresh food.
Yeah.
And there were no preservatives back in that time. And life is a gift. Let's treasure it. Let's take better care of ourselves. Right. Yeah, I'm passionate about it because I believe in what I'm telling you.
Follow them on social media, and the address is
706 Central Avenue. We're just a block and a half west of Five Corners. And we have new traffic lights at Five Corners.
Oh, boy.
Oh, they're so big. It's wonderful. But we're up the street from those big traffic lights.
And I plan on being there on April 1st, too.
Oh, please, because you can have sugar-free or you can have low sugar. You'll have to decide between now and then.
All right. Sounds good. Millie Snyder from the Shape Shop. It's 9:23. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live brought to you in part by Pinnacle Consultants. We spend 90% of our time indoors, and our health risk for air pollution can be greater indoors than out. Pinnacle Consultants, the only accredited commercial lab in West Virginia for asbestos and mold. Visit pinnaclecorp.net because what you don't know can hurt you. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, it's the annual Day of Giving at West Virginia University. We'll talk to BJ Davisson after this from the Parmar Store Studio and the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses are small businesses with big impact, including Generations Physical Therapy and Snap Fitness.
Hi, I'm David McCormick, owner of Omega Commercial Interiors. We'd like to thank you, West Virginia, for making us the #1 office furniture and commercial interiors company in West Virginia. Remember, when you're looking for quality office furniture and space planning for healthcare, corporate offices, or even a private office, call us and buy local. Omega Commercial Interiors. We're a proud West Virginia company. Visit us online at omegacommercialinteriors.com in Morgantown and Charleston.
If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon. You hear us say that a lot, but it's true. Wherever you may go, chances are you'll find a Parmar store there, offering everything you need to get you in and then back on the road as soon as possible. From gas to groceries and snacks and items for your house, we have it at Parmar stores. Download the app and sign up for the Parmar Rewards Card too. West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
Buckle up. Adventure will never be the same on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Ready, set, go. Hey, it's Sydney inviting you to the new Thornhill Toyota for our amazing deals during the Toyota National Sales Event. Just imagine you in a new 2024 Toyota Camry, Corolla, or all-new Crown. Or step up with a Toyota SUV like a new 2024 RAV4 or Highlander Gas, where you can enjoy 3.99% financing for 60 months. So many possibilities. Ready, set, go to the new Thornhill Toyota on the Thornhill Motor Mile, US 119 in Chapmanville. Click or come by ThornhillToyotaWV.com and let's go places. Must qualify for all offers through Toyota Financial expires April 1st, 2024. Shop Thornhill to get yours.
926, the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, presented in part by Brightway Insurance, a Mays agency of Tays Valley, locally owned and operated by an Air Force veteran and a former teacher. When it comes to insurance, they are everything you've been looking for. Brightway offers expertise from real local agents. Not a 1-800 number, it's a local number. John or Sherry Mays, 304-814-2509, 304-814-2509 for Brightway, the Mays agency. It's the annual Day of Giving at West Virginia University, 24-hour online university fundraising event for Mountaineer friends and alumni. BJ Davisson is Executive Vice President and Chief Development Officer for the WVU Foundation. BJ, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. I know it's early on, and I also know, BJ, that it's an online event, so I'm not sure how tracking goes until it's all over, but any indication as to how things are going so far?
I was just checking, Dave. We're about $891,000 already, so we're off to a great start.
That is awesome. And it's an online event. When did it officially start? Like at what time? Is it just midnight, or when did it officially kick in?
Yeah, it started at midnight, and we'll go through, I guess, technically we go through 3 a.m. so we can be sure to capture everybody on the West Coast.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think about that. Because, there's WVU folks everywhere. That's the thing.
We are everywhere. We're all over the country and around the world. So that's what makes online so easy. People, don't have to worry about sending a check. They can just go online and support the cause that's most important to them.
And this is the 7th straight year for this, BJ, is that right?
It is the 7th. We started in 2017, and we've raised, not including the 894 I just told you about, we've raised about $66 million from 28,000 gifts over the course of the program.
Yeah, I was looking at some of your numbers when I was preparing for the show. Over $66 million has been raised since you started this thing, as you mentioned. That's a lot of money, BJ.
It is a lot of money, and this day has become just a really fun day for the entire institution, and I think that it builds a lot of energy around, the entire entity of WVU, but also just among our donors who really kind of have fun with the day. And I like to say that we're a large land grant institution with an academic medical center and branch campuses, and I believe there's virtually something for every philanthropic interest folks might have at a place like WVU.
And I want to get into that. What exactly does the money go toward? I know there's so many different things, BJ, but give me just a few examples.
Sure. Well, we're always, from the academic side of the shop and student life side of the shop, we're always talking about scholarship support because we know that scholarships will always be critically important to the institution. But when we look beyond our traditional academic programs, we also have our athletics program, our hospital system, again, our branch campuses. There are like 5,300 funds at the WVU Foundation. So there's really every potential use. But I will say, to summarize, scholarship support, supporting our hospital system, supporting our athletics program are kind of some of our highest priorities. And we also think about our arts, right? We have our College of Creative Arts, so the Pride, our band, it's limitless.
Yeah. Talking to B.J. Davisson again, who's Executive Vice President and Chief Development Officer for WVU's Foundation on their annual Day of Giving. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. If you're injured, visit forthepeople.com. B.J., I want to talk about the WVU of 2024. No doubt the college landscape has changed over the years with the advent of online learning and such, but still, obviously, by the numbers that you've been able to put up in this, what's already started today and going back to 2017, there's still a lot of people that believe in the mission of West Virginia University, and that's not changed much over the years.
No, it really has not. And I think, people think about our graduates or just friends of the institution. I think that folks understand that change is a constant in the world that we live in. And, institutions go through changes, and people are really loyal to the institution. I believe it's largely because of our, very specific land grant mission of servicing the citizens of the state of West Virginia. And, of course, we go beyond West Virginia, but that certainly is a critical part of who we are. We have extension agents in every county. We are very much a part of this state, and I think people rally around that, Dave.
Yeah, exactly. So give us all the information for giving for this Day of Giving.
Sure. So if you want to go online and make donations at dayofgiving.wvu.edu, and that will take folks right to the site.
All right, and if you didn't catch that, a simple Google search will get you there. You did a great job on the social media. I was looking at it last night. You got a lot of information available up there as well. BJ, best of luck. We have you on every year to talk about it. Certainly a worthwhile cause. I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to be here. Thanks a lot.
Hey, great, Dave. Thanks for having me. Always good to talk to you.
All right. Again, B.J. Davisson, again, the Executive Vice President and Chief Development Officer for the WVU Foundation. Day of Giving, again, kicked off at midnight. It's going to go to about 3 a.m. I love when B.J. said we go to at least 3 a.m. because we want to get the West Coast people as well. So just go to that website he listed, or just Google search or find it on social media. And, again, the money raised goes to a lot of different things at West Virginia University. Bigley Piggly Wiggly Hotline 304-345-5858. Fruth Pharmacy Tech. text 304-935-5008. Text says, going south of Morgantown, the Herds women's basketball team is leaving to go to Blacksburg today at 2:45 from the Henderson Center. Come out and cheer them off to a victory. Go Herd, says the texter. I had Rusty Webb on the show yesterday, and Rusty was here to talk about the opioid developments out of Cabell County. But obviously, Rusty, as the texter pointed out on the show yesterday, attorney Rusty Webb is a big, big supporter of women's athletics. And it really is great knowing that the NCAA tournament is going on, the women's tournament, and we have both WVU and Marshall taking part in that. Now, I mentioned if WVU wins their opening game, then they get to face Caitlin Clark, who, here's what, and I'm not to be honest with you, I don't follow college basketball maybe as closely as I do other sports, but I will say, if you want to know who Caitlin Clark is, combine Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and any other great players that you can name, and that's who Caitlin Clark is. Well, that's who West Virginia is going to get if they win that opening game. But going back to the Herd, again, they play Friday afternoon, and the team is leaving to go to Blacksburg today, according to this texter. Big rally going on at the Henderson Center at 2:45 today, so come out and cheer them off to victory, says a texter. And again, best of luck to West Virginia University's women's basketball team as well as Marshall's basketball team as well. And the University of Charleston, their men's basketball team is in postseason play. They unfortunately fell to defeat, I understand, last night. And we get stories posted about that at WVMetroNews.com. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you part by Live Healthy West Virginia, presented by WVU Medicine. Live Healthy West Virginia tackles pressing health issues like heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, and more. It's a podcast that offers insights into medical breakthroughs and preventative care, featuring WVU Medicine's expert physicians, aimed at fostering healthier lifestyles in and beyond the state. It's a valuable resource for all. Discover the latest episodes, WVMetroNews.com, under the podcast menu, and start your journey towards better health today. We're going to take a break. Our good friend Fred Albert from the American Federation of Teachers will stop by next. We're back after this from the Parmar Store Studio on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses bring first-class businesses to your community.
Career politicians in Charleston and Washington are taxing our families too much. Let's vote for a Republican that will fight for us. Republican Dwayne Duncan, running for Kanawha County Commission, wants to cut taxes for all our families. Dwayne Duncan wants more jobs, lower taxes, and safer communities. Dwayne Duncan is a job creator and believes you should keep more of your hard-earned money. Let's vote for lower taxes and more jobs. Let's vote for Republican Dwayne Duncan for Kanawha County Commission.
Paid for by Dwayne Duncan for County Commission. Tori DeCubo, Treasurer.
By now, I'm sure you recognize that cha-ching sound means this is a commercial for 50/50 Fridays. But this one is a little different. We're always looking for exciting new restaurants and businesses to feature on 50/50 Fridays. And that's where you come in. Instead of paying cash for your advertising, sign your restaurant or business up to be featured with 50/50 Fridays, which will save you money and bring new customers into your location. Email Joe Parsons at jparsons@wvmetronews.com to get started today.
The Husson's March Special. Get an 18-inch largest large pepperoni pizza and a customizable crustless bread bowl for only $22.99. Visit your nearest Husson's for dine-in pickup or delivery. Visit now at HussonsPizza.com. Want an unfiltered take on sports and society? Join NFL All-Pro Carl Lee on Let's Talk. No-holds-barred discussions on hot topics with surprise guests you won't hear anywhere else. Sunday afternoons at 1:03 on the Voice of Charleston 580 WCHS.
24 minutes away from 10, the Dave Allen Show at 580 Live, brought to you by Bridge Valley. If you're interested in improving your company's IT workforce, you may want to know Bridge Valley offers custom-tailored IT training to bridge the skills gap. At Bridge Valley, you can train for little or no cost with a 50/50 salary match. Bridge Valley can also supply skilled graduates and apprenticeships for your company. Visit bridgevalley.edu/apprenticeships today. Our good friend Fred Albert from the American Federation of Teachers is here. Before we get to Fred, I want to bring this up. It's partly personal here. I've been asked to take part in an event tonight, and quite frankly, I don't know what to expect. And for someone who has been in the public eye or public ear for the last 36 years, I can't say that about a lot of different events. The event is part of Festival in conjunction with the West Virginia Public Broadcasting folks, and they do this once a month or so. It's called Three Things. and they've asked myself and a couple of others to get on stage and talk about ourselves. Our topic is, as you may guess, 3 things. The subjects are my first, my favorite, and my future. It's pretty simple, I guess. And it starts at 7 at the John L. Dickinson Family Homeowners Education and Community Center on Court Street, 815 Court Street, downtown Charleston. Doors open at 6:30. Again, the event begins at 7. Tickets are $10. In addition to public broadcasting, a festival, the Glofelty Foundation, the University of Charleston, Taylor Books, and United Bank also in it sponsored. 2 other folks are involved on stage. Darrell Miller, who is the founder and CEO of the Keep Your Faith Corporation, and Jennifer Keener, who is a social worker. So it should be a lot of fun. And I've got some information posted about it on my social media pages. And I'll say this. As I was preparing my bio for Jeff Shirley, who's the guy that puts this whole thing together a couple of weeks ago, I had to email him a bunch of stuff about me. I realized all the stuff I do, and I thought, well, no wonder I'm always tired. With the here and other jobs I do and what I do on the other radio stations in the building, whatever. But I have a good time with it. So, again, it's not boring. It's never boring to me. So if you get a chance, come out, check it out. I'm looking forward to it tonight. 3 things. I'll let you know how it goes tomorrow morning. Fred Albert for the American Federation of Teachers here. Fred, good morning. How are you, buddy?
Good morning, Dave. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Are you familiar with this 3 things thing that they've wrote me into?
I've heard it before, and I'm sorry I have to miss it tonight. I have choir practice at my church. I sing in the church choir at Christ Church United Methodist, and I have choir practice, or else I would come and see you divulge your 3 things.
Yeah, first, favorite, and future.
Oh, my.
So it's got more.
That's pretty heavy.
It's got more F's than my high school report card. But speaking of letter grades, and we're going to get into some specifics why I have you here today. As a teacher, what's your letter grade on the last legislative session overall? I know you got a grade on the curve, and you can say, well, this is good and that's bad, but I've asked several people to give me, if you had to give an overall letter grade, Fred, what would it be?
I think maybe a C minus.
Okay. That's higher than some people gave it, so C minus.
Yeah.
And how did you arrive at the C minus?
Well,
I know I put you on the spot there, but
one of the things that we always are encouraged by.
Let me have you turn that microphone over to you a little bit there.
We got a pay raise for our teachers and
Mm-hmm.
service personnel, for public employees, and for our state troopers. So that was a good thing. The other thing that we didn't get, and I know it's bears some controversy, is we have been asking for quite a few years now for some help with PEIA and with student discipline in our schools.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Senator Grady, of course, you know, did try and did address that. That bill didn't pass.
Why do you think it didn't pass, Fred?
Well, that's a good question.
I mean, because Senator Grady is a Republican.
Right.
She is an educator, and she was on this show. She was on Hoppy. She was in the press, really kind of beating this thing about why we needed this thing, and it just didn't happen. And she was, I heard her talking about it on Hoppy afterwards, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to have her on this show here real soon. She was very, very upset about it, but why do you think it didn't pass?
I think there were some things in that bill that maybe needed to be looked at a little bit more closely. I met with Senator Grady on several occasions, and we spoke about this bill. I supported it. Some of my members probably didn't, but teachers and service personnel have an issue with the disruptive behavior that we're seeing in our classrooms, unlike years past.
And I was going to say that, Fred, not to interrupt you, but we're talking. There was always the kid, and I've seen these things online. People say the biggest problems with students in public schools of the 1950s as compared to today.
Right.
I went to school in the 70s and 80s. I talked a lot. I know you find that hard to believe. Okay, I talked a lot. We had gum chewers. We had people skipping class.
Right.
We didn't have people assaulting teachers like we do now. We didn't have teachers, bus drivers, custodians that were fearful for their own lives. And all you got to do is just go on YouTube and pull up some videos. There's some scary stuff happening, Fred, in our public schools.
Absolutely, and we're seeing it in younger grades
that
we've never seen before.
And so what this bill would have done, it would have basically...
I think it gave the teachers more authority.
To get them out of there.
To give them, here's the bottom line, though. These children, the children who are exhibiting these behaviors that are disrupting the classroom, they need help. And I don't think the resources were provided necessarily in that bill to find out what's causing this child to behave this way in school, to not follow the teacher's instructions, disrupting the whole classroom. What do they need? Is it mental help? There are just so many issues there. But I'm not really sure why the bill failed. It passed in the Senate. It didn't pass in the House. I think that hopefully it will come back. Mm-hmm. I don't think Senator Grady's going to give up on it.
No.
Because
Senator Grady, no, she won't.
Right. And she did say many, many times, we've listened to teachers because surveys were taken for a few years. We did a survey last year with WVEA. We went around the state. We listened to educators, to parents, to legislators, to service personnel, to students. And the same thing. One of the big overriding issues in our schools is student discipline, and it's causing us to lose teachers, young teachers who just don't want to come to school and get hurt.
So, and there's so many different, you and I could play psychologist on this all day and spend a week on this, but there's so many different reasons why. Back when I was a kid, you got in trouble in school, you got in trouble at home too. Right. Well, a lot of these kids don't have that support at home, and now we have a generation of parents that think my kid does no wrong, and you're picking it. And then you have also a lot of parents out there that aren't involved. You got great grandparents raising kids. There's so many societal issues, Fred, that go into this.
And we have so many children in foster care, or so many children
they're homeless
that are homeless, and they don't have that support, and they don't necessarily know right from wrong from an early age on. But it is an issue. It's not going to go away unless we provide some help.
All right, let me read a text here for you, okay? Text says, what was the administration supposed to do with the disruptive kids who aren't allowed in class? It's not like the school boards have the resources to have separate classrooms or facilities for the disruptive kids.
That is a big issue. But, if we're going to correct the problem, then the resources need to be provided. And an alternative setting within the school probably is the best answer. And I know that's going to take resources. It's going to take extra personnel to handle that. We're not bad-mouthing the administrators because their hands are pretty tied as well. But when a teacher dismisses a child from the class because of behavior issues, they go to the office, and the administrator then sends them back in a short period of time, that doesn't help anyone.
No. And you got to look at the numbers. I mean, that's one kid that's causing problems versus 25 or 26 others that are just there trying to learn. And and who ends up losing out in this? You don't want to see any kid left behind, but...
Well, and we've had examples where all the other children in the classroom, let's say we have one really disruptive child who's tearing up the classroom. All the other children have been removed from the classroom because that child can't be handled, in a way that is safe, and it's just it's a huge problem that we need to provide resources for. We need more school counselors, psychologists.
And you feel that a lot of this was not addressed from the legislature this time?
I really don't think that it was, no.
The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you part by Hudson's Pizza. Get an 18-inch pepperoni pizza and a pizza bowl, only $22.99. Find your nearest Hudson's at Hudson'sPizza.com for delivery, pickup, or dine-in. Fred, I want to talk about the vaccination bill. By the way, that's the subject of Hoppy's commentary this morning. In case you missed it, you can check it out on the website.
Did hear that, yes.
And it's available at WVMetroNews.com. Hoppy calling on the governor to veto the bill. No word exactly what the governor's going to do yet. The governor does have a media briefing, I understand, later today where it may be addressed. It was House Bill 5105, and it would remove vaccination requirements for students in virtual public schools and would allow private and parochial schools to set their own standards, which could be different than public schools. Now, as I understand it, Fred, it is very limited, only impacting private and virtual schools, but you and your organization still have concerns.
We do, because, when we listen to the healthcare providers, those people who are really smart and know what they're talking about, we need to pay attention. And when this bill was in debate in Health Committee, Senate Health Committee, it was packed. The room was packed with healthcare providers telling them this is the wrong move. West Virginia, from what I've read and heard, we lead the nation in being really good in vaccinating our children before they go into school. And we have very few outbreaks, if any. But some of the surrounding states, I understand now, have an outbreak of measles. Why would we want to go back to those times? When I was growing up, I had measles, I had chickenpox, I had mumps. I wouldn't want that to happen to anyone else going forward, and we thought we had taken care of it. I also remember going to school through all of my school years with at least 2 students who suffered from polio. Unfortunately, they recently, just within the last few years, have passed away. But I remember how difficult their life was because they had polio. Mm-hmm. I also remember standing in line with my parents to get the sugar cubes that had the polio vaccination embedded in it. That was a decision my parents made, and I'm so grateful they made that decision to help us have a healthier life. But, even the chair of Senate Health, Dr. Maroney, Senator Maroney from up in Marshall County, the last night of the session before this bill passed, he pleaded for them not to pass this bill. He says we're doing something that we're going to regret.
But what are your concerns from a public school?
From a public school because
this is primarily, as I understand it, if this had to do with
virtual schools,
charter or virtual schools, parochial. As somebody who represents public schools,
I think that Hoppy hit the nail right on the head in his commentary this morning, and I heard it. I think it's going to open up the door for something else down the road. Okay. So it's a virtual school student doesn't have to be vaccinated. Okay, but and I understand that if they come to school to play sports, to public school, they have to follow the WVSSAC rules and be vaccinated. But I think it's opening a door to the community that we don't want to see, because then it could trickle down into our public schools. If that person who's not vaccinated then gets a disease, gets whatever it is, they could spread it to someone else, a younger child who hasn't even had their vaccinations yet, or who's not eligible to be vaccinated.
Measles, I heard a report on ABC News this morning, 90% if you're dealing with people that aren't vaccinated, you and I are riding a school bus together and we're not vaccinated, I have measles, you have a 90% chance of catching it just by sitting next to me. Exactly. Not any kind of contact or anything like that. 90% chance. That was a report that was on ABC News this morning. I want to go back here to the discipline bill because I got a text here that somebody said it did pass both the Senate and the House, but it was sent back to the House to concur on technical language, and then the clock ran out.
That's true. That is what.
But either way, it didn't get passed.
It didn't get passed.
Is what you're saying. Before I let you go, I want to ask you this question, Fred. And since you've been on last, the American Federation of Teachers and your counterparts over to WVEA have agreed to what looks like a merger.
Right.
So, what's the upside for members of your organization and the WVEA?
Well, we're looking at it when this takes place, and I do believe that our members will vote for it, and it's ultimately up to the membership in both AFT, West Virginia, and WVEA. I think the new organization will be a stronger voice. We will be, together. We're already together on so many of the issues. I just think it's going to give a stronger voice to our educators. And when I say educators, that's our classroom teachers, our classroom aides, service personnel, bus drivers, cooks, custodians. I think it will bring about a stronger voice, and that's
what's the time frame for that again?
We're looking at it would be September of 2025 when a new organization would be come into being. There's a lot of work to do before we get there.
Are you out of a job at that point, or what, Fred?
Well, we'll have to wait and see.
All right, Fred, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show, man. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you. I'm sorry I'm going to miss your three things tonight, but I'll be listening for them.
Don't be. Fred Albert for the American Federation of Teachers. It's 9:50 the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you part by General Hardware and Lumber of Winfield and Milton. Whether you're getting ready for your home for warm weather months, any kind of project you got going on, they can help. They're locally owned and operated. General Hardware and General Lumber. Visit generalhardwarewv.com. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses want to thank you for shopping locally.
For too long, liberal activist judges have been in power. All while we're losing jobs, criminals go free, and the drug problem gets worse. It's time for a fresh face in the courthouse.
I'm Ashley Deem, a lifelong Republican running in the nonpartisan race for Kanawha County Circuit Judge. Born and raised in Kanawha County, I understand the challenges our families face.
Ashley Deem is a conservative who will be tough on crime and apply the law fairly. Vote for Ashley Deem for Circuit Judge. Paid for by the committee to elect Ashley Deem for judge.
Thrive with 5 at the best community bank in the Kanawha Valley, Poca Valley Bank. Poca Valley Bank is now offering a certificate of deposit special, 10-month APY, annual percentage yield 5%. Take advantage of this great rate to grow your savings. For more information, stop by a Poca Valley Bank location today or call 844-782-2651. Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter. Certain terms and conditions apply. Rates based on minimum annual percentage yield. Subject to change without notice. Minimum deposit required of $10,000 of new money not currently on deposit with Poca Valley Bank to receive APY. Member FDIC.
In business, service is everything. Cintas delivers what you need to better serve your customers. Whether it's freshly laundered work apparel for almost any job imaginable, tested and inspected fire protection systems, first aid and safety supplies, on-site AED training, or mops and restroom products, stocked and ready when you need them. Better work days happen together. So visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Turn your dial to 580 WCHS, the heartbeat of Charleston, for all things news, entertainment, and sports. Kickstart your day with the latest headlines on the morning news. Then dive deep into Kanawha Valley's pulse with Dave Allen on 580 Live. Wander West Virginia and beyond with Hoppy Kercheval on Metro News Talkline. Then Dan Bongino at noon. End your day on a high note with pop culture and sports. Dave Weekly and Coop on Hotline. And the statewide sports line for all things WVU. Your connection to Charleston is 580 WCHS.
7 away from 10. The impact of Special Olympics extends far beyond the athletes themselves. Volunteers and supporters touched by the unwavering determination of these extraordinary individuals find immeasurable fulfillment in their involvement. The inclusive approach embraced by Special Olympics fosters an environment where everyone plays a vital role. West Virginia, enriched in collaboration with Huntington, invites you to witness the transformative power of Special Olympics. See a video highlighting the Special Olympics at facebook.com/580WCHS. The Dave Allen Show and 580 Live is brought to you by Fresh Air. They'll change those heating and cooling unit air filters for your home, your retail, or your industrial business, restaurant, church, or whatever, and they can build custom filters for you. 24-hour emergency services available. Visit freshairfilters.us. That's freshairfilters.us, or call 304-440-1104 for Fresh Air, because everyone deserves fresh air, and the folks at Fresh Air will be at the expo. We talked about it yesterday. The Construction Expo going on at the Coliseum and Convention Center. They will be down there the next couple of days. Text to the Dave Allen Show, our service of Fruth Pharmacy, and our phone calls are a service of Biggly Piggly Wiggly. Text says politicians want to put pistols on teachers, but balk at putting paddles in their desk drawers. Paddles, not pistols, will get the disciplines desired, says a texter. Texter says voters need to defeat the AFT and WVEA any place they rear their ugly heads. It's one thing to work for better pay for teachers. It's a whole other thing to advocate for liberal social issues, which they do all the time, says a texter. Texter says perhaps the framework for separating the disruptive kids should be worked out before legislation is approved that removes kids from the classrooms. But that would take foresight and planning, something the legislature is not known for. Text says, why is Fred Albert trying to butt into what private schools are doing? Typical of a teacher union, says a texter. Well, I think he kind of explained that. He says that if this happens in private schools, happens in parochial schools or whatever, that it could eventually come into the public schools. That was his answer to that question. Here's the solution, says the texter, to the school discipline issue. Just give the kids guns. That solves all problems at school, work, home, concerts, movie theaters, political rallies, sporting events, parades, places of worship, and so on. Come on, Republicans, show us you really support the Second Amendment. Coming up on tomorrow's show, remember a couple of weeks ago when I had Lynn Fruth on from Fruth Pharmacy, sponsor of this show, but she was talking about a bill that would try to shore up a definite problem when it comes to monies being paid out for prescriptions. Well, that bill that would hopefully fix the issue did pass the legislature. Lynn Fruth will be back on the show tomorrow to talk about it. Also tomorrow, Kanawha County Commissioner Lance Wheeler will be stopping by, and we're going to spend some time talking about human trafficking. That is on tomorrow's show. Hoppy coming up at 10:06 this morning with Talkline from the Encova Studios. Speaking of vaccines, as we were earlier, Delegate Chris Pritt from here in Kanawha County, who is one of the folks really pushing the vaccine exemption bill. And again, that's in front of the governor right now. Delegate Pritt, who is also the deputy majority whip in the House and a candidate for Secretary of State, will join Hoppy to talk about that coming up on the show today. Plus, there's big changes coming to one of my favorite places, Glade Springs, which is owned by the family of Governor Justice Brad McElhaney. We'll have more on that. Delegate Heather Tully's on the show, and also Hobby's going to get into a fascinating story, which we briefly touched on yesterday's show when I had Jason Pizzatella on from the Contractors Association. A gentleman by the name of Captain Charlie Plum. He is a combat veteran who was shot down in Vietnam and spent 6 years as a POW. He's also in town. He was to be the keynote speaker at the expo going on at the Coliseum Convention Center, and going to get his story. I'm looking forward to hearing that coming up on Hoppy, which I think it's going to be in the second hour of the show, but Hoppy's show is begins at 10:06. If you'd like another way to enjoy your favorite Metro News programs like Talk Line, Sports Line, Three Guys, and more, instead of just listening, you can now watch the Voice of West Virginia. Check out the new WV Metro News TV app. Download it to your favorite device from Apple, iOS, Android, Roku, Amazon, and more. Download it and enjoy all your favorite Metro News personalities from Caridi to Kirchhoff and more. Metro News for your ears and now for your eyes, too. The free app available anywhere you download apps, or you can just go to our website, wvmetronews.com. That would probably be the easiest way for you to do it. A reminder that coming up at 11 o'clock this morning, there is a statewide tornado warning. Now, if you got your cell phone set for weather alerts and things of that nature, it may go off, may not. If you've got a weather radio, I know some people have those, it may go off too. Just letting you know, there's no danger for the area or whatever. This is part of the Spring Weather Awareness Month, so that is scheduled to go off at 11 this morning. So just so you know. All right, real quick, I want to throw this out, and there's more about it, this on WCHSnetwork.com. The Charleston Police Department is out with their crime numbers from the year 2023. And again, you can go over to the website and read it in detail, WCHSnetwork.com. What's called Type 1 crimes were actually down in the year 2023 from 2022. The only exception to that is malicious wounding in the city. Malicious wounding is up from 2022, up by 4, not by a whole lot. There were 5 murders in the city in 2023, 44 rapes, 38 reported robberies, 388 burglaries, over 1,000 cases of larceny, 233 vehicles broken into, and 137 cars stolen. Again, this is all for reported crimes within the city of Charleston from the Charleston PD. Now, the number of DUIs was way down. Overdoses within the city limits fell. However, sadly, overdose deaths were actually up, but still not the most we've seen in the city. That record was set back in 2021. Again, go read the story for yourself, WCHSnetwork.com. My thanks to Fred Albert from the American Federation of Teachers for stopping by, the always lovely and talented Millie Snyder and BJ Davisson on the WVU Day of Giving, which will continue until 3 a.m. tomorrow morning. Again, coming up on the show tomorrow, Lynn Fruith's going to be stopping by. We're going to talk about human trafficking, and Kanawha County Commissioner Lance Wheeler on the show as well. I'll see you at 3 Things tonight at 7 o'clock. Hoppy's coming up next with Talk Line. Until tomorrow, have fun and love somebody.
WCHS AM, 96.5 FM Charleston, and 104.5 Cross Lanes, a WVRC media station. We're proud to live here too.